Okay, so picking up from where we left off, we're just going to add in two new components. I'm going to go to Insert Component, and I'm going to select the bucket. I'm going to hold my Control key down, and I'm going to select the lifting arm. As I said, I don't often bring two parts in at the same time, but I just want to show you that it is possible. So I'll select Open. It'll show me the bucket first. I just left-click to drop it, and the lifting arm, left-click to drop it. All right, so now you see that I have two parts in here, and they are both free to move. All right, so I'm going to connect the lifting arm first, and I'm going to do that through a coincident mate, a concentric mate, and an angle mate. So I'll go to my mate toolbar, and I'll select that surface of the lifting arm, and this surface of the assembly that we already have, and I'll select OK to accept the coincident mate. I'll now select a cylinder here from the lifting arm and a mating cylinder or a matching cylinder on the assembly. Again, that's going to be a concentric mate, so I'll say OK. And at this point, you can see that we have a degree of rotational freedom for the lifting arm. Sometimes we might want to leave that, but for now, we'll control that using an angle mate, and the angle mate that we want, or the angle that we want, is 140 degrees, and I will select here, and I will select here, right? We want to make angle mates between surfaces, not lines or edges. So it tells me that it's going to put the angle mate in, and I'll say OK. So now what we're going to do is we will look at the mating the bucket to the lifting arm, but one of the things we have is that we know that we can do the concentric mate, but we're looking at the distance between these two parts. All right, but before I start looking at distances, what I am going to do down here in the right-hand corner is switch my assembly from the inch-pound-second to the meter-kilogram-second unit system, because that's the unit system that these parts have been built in and what you're going to want to report your answers in. So I'm going to dismiss the mate toolbar. So I'll go to measure. I will select this surface and this surface, and the distance between them is 0.1 meters. Now if I go over to this surface here, I'll select this one and this one, and we get the distance between those surfaces as being 0.08 meters. So we see that there is a 0.01 gap on each side of this. So I can utilize that to position this properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a distance mate. So I will go back to my assembly toolbar. I will go to mate. I'm going to go to distance, and I'll put in the distance of 0.01. And what I'll do then is I'll select this surface, and I will select this surface. And I'll say OK. And they should be lined up, but let's do the concentric mates just to see what's happening. So that cylinder and the mating one on the lifting arm, concentric, and I'll say OK. So now let me just put it into an orientation that will make it easier for us to see. I'll select here, and if I zoom in, you can see that there is a specified gap between them. Just to make sure, we can go to the measure toolbar one more time, and I can measure between these two edges. And in the Z direction, I am 0.01 meters. And same thing over here, that in the Z direction, I am 0.01 meters. All right, so we got that one and the lifting arm are set. So what we want to do here is just put in the angle mate here, which from the document is 50 degrees. So I'll go back to our mate toolbar, and we will set the angle mate to 50 degrees. And we'll select this upper surface here and the mating surface on the lifting arm. 50 degrees, angle mate, we'll say OK, and I can give myself a side view here. So this is in the same orientation as we have in the diagram. All right, so I'm going to stop the video here, and we will pick up by putting in the cylinders.